Alright, so I got inspired by the TempleOS game Cyberched. It has some cool dithering effects that kind of give the illusion of more complex colors than just the 16 color palette that's in TempleOS, but it still just kind of uses that. It does it by alternating pixels. I was playing around with that concept and I made a function to generate 2-color dithered lines and 2-color and 3-color dithered rectangles. The idea of it is pretty simple, but all you're doing is you generate a line and then you add transparency to it, and that's built into the line functions, and all you have to do is you would put a 2 after the x and y axis of both of your vertexes. Basically, you're telling it to place a pixel every 2 pixels, and then if you were to add like a 3 there, it's just saying place a pixel every 3 pixels. That doesn't work exactly the same in the 3D functions. It only really works with the 2D functions. 3D, it does something with scaling, so that it doesn't have to render objects that are super far away that wouldn't be visible, but that messes with the transparency when I was messing with it, so I couldn't get the exact effect I was looking for. But basically, you generate the line that has a pixel every other pixel, and then you would set that to your first color, and then you would generate another line that's set to your second color. You would do the exact same thing where you generate it every other pixel. But then the issue is that it will set it right on top if your dimensions are the same. So you just have to, if it's a horizontal line, you would shift it on the x-axis. If it's a vertical line, you'd shift it on the y-axis. And if it's a diagonal line, you'd shift it on both. So the line stuff is a little different than the rectangle, because the rectangle, you give it a starting point and then you just kind of draw it. So I found the rectangle programming was a little easier. With the rectangle programming, when you go up on the y-axis by 1, you also need to swap which color comes first. And so I just did that by shifting it by 1 pixel and then swapping that. Just having a variable, a little Boolean variable that swaps between true and false for that. But then if you wanted to do the same thing for 3 colors, 4 colors, 5 colors, all you do is you would set the line transparency, whatever that could be referred to, basically the pixel spacing on the line. You would set that higher, and then when you shift it, you would have to shift through more. And so I tried that out with the 3-color dithering, and the concept does work, so you can shift that all the way up. But it allows you to get access to colors that normally aren't accessible using that 16-color palette. But you're using them as a base, and you're kind of just mixing them with dithering, so it shouldn't go against the charter in any way. Yeah, there's a bunch of really cool colors you can get. I would recommend trying it out for yourself and playing with the color mixes. Then my idea with that is you would use GPU post-processing effects, and you could add a blur to it and make the colors super smooth, or, I mean, some of them you don't even really want to do that with. I feel like the effects on it are really cool because when you move around the screen, sometimes it'll change color. I got one that was like a greenish yellow that would change to red. It was pretty interesting to look at. I'd imagine that this could be integrated with all of the graphics functions so that we can add multiple color dithering into TempleOS at some point.